The Fuji Gotemba Distillery is owned and operated by the Kirin Holdings Company Limited, which sometimes leads to its whiskies having different names. Kirin Fuji, Fuji Gotemba, or just Fuji. But whatever you call it, it's an interesting Japanese whiskey. This is their single malt release. Let's see what makes it tick, shall we? This is Whiskey. I'm John Chidgey. Always remember to drink responsibly, in moderation and where and when appropriate. Feel free to like and subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube, and visit engineer.network/whiskey, without the E, to learn how you can support the show. Thank you. The initially confusing thing about the Kirin Fuji trio of whiskies is that they offer three. There's a single grain, a single malt, and a single blend. Which, if you remember the 5 categories of whiskies, isn't that then a 6th category? So let's just recap real quick. There's single grain, single malt, blended grain, blended malt, and blended whiskey. Technically, there is no single blended. So what the heck does that mean? You have to remember that the single refers only to the distillery in the singular, meaning a single malt can consist of many barrels of whiskey from the same distillery, so single distillery, single malt. For blended malt, you can take whiskies from 2 or more distilleries, and that makes them a blend. So to have a single blend, the only way that's possible is for the same distillery to make both the malt and the grain whiskey and blend them themselves. Cool, huh? If you're curious about the pricing differences, the single grain goes for about 130 Australian through Sense of Taste, and the single blended goes for about 120 Australian, with the best non-discounted price I could find at Kent Street Cellars, and that's online only. It's getting harder to find that one here, unfortunately. Anyway, I'm digressing. The point is that this is their single malt version, and the first time I tried this was at a whiskey club meeting. The first one I attended, actually, that was in October 2024. Since then, I got this from an advent calendar, so I thought I should cover it properly, with more time to absorb it and take some proper notes down. You can get a full-size bottle of the single malt from Sense of Taste for 166 Australian dollars, since Dan Murphy's don't carry it. And I don't count them, meaning Dan Murphy's, on selling it through that Dan's Marketplace as being sold at Dan's. It's not. If I can't buy it off the shelf in a brick and mortar store, then I'll just order it directly from somewhere else and get it delivered, thank you, not through Dan's Marketplace. Anyway, it has a 46% ABV, it has no age statement on the bottle, although it's reportedly aged for a minimum of 8 years. It's not chill filtered, and it isn't coloured, and it's one of their core range whiskies. It's not a peated whiskey either. Their 3 bottlings, including this one, are all made at the Fuji Gotemba Distillery, distilled in pot stills and aged in American white oak, ex-bourbon barrels predominantly sourced from Four Roses bourbon. This distillery is about 600 meters above sea level on the foothills of Mount Fuji, just 12 kilometers from the summit and about a 2-hour drive from Tokyo. Like all good marketing pitches about the terroir, they say they use pure melted snow. I guess. Now it's water again. Sure. It's filtered for 50 years, okay, from Mount Fuji, which adds a unique dimension to their whiskies. Sure, that's great. Like most Japanese whiskies, it's relatively young compared to Scotch and Irish whiskies, but that's okay. It was only founded in 1972 by the Kirin Brewery Company in collaboration with Seagram and Chivas Brothers. Alright, enough already. Onto the whiskey. On the Fuji website, they say the following. On the nose, white peaches, fruit tart, creme brulee. On the palate, rich with mellow and velvety texture, luscious aroma of ripe white peaches and fruit tart. And on the finish, sweet, complex, and well-matured flavour with a pleasantly long finish. Okay, fair enough. Now, I took notes from my original tasting. They were a little bit scant on the details, hence why I'm doing this review, I suppose. Here's what I wrote. It's a little bit brief, I'm just warning you. On the nose, malty, honey. For the taste, toffee, smooth. And on the finish, longer than the one I had before. It was my first tasting, come on now. Anyway, my overall rating was 7 and the group was 6.95. So, that's pretty good. I guess I was pretty close to the group level there anyway. Alright. So I'd almost call that like a light coppery colour. And it's nice looking too, considering it's a natural colour. Those legs are a little bit slow to start, but when they do, those are thick drops and they run pretty quick. They get faster as they go. Alright. Oh, that is just the way I remember it. It is light and crisp. It's like a fresh lettuce that you've just rinsed off or something, and it's like it's got that nice, cool, fresh crispiness to it. Oh, it smells so light, and it's like got this nice fruitiness to it. You know, like a fruit salad fruitiness a little bit. You can smell the malt for sure. There's a very, very light honey. Yeah, it's pretty much what I remember from last time. Actually, this one did strike a chord with me. It did. I reckon there's a little bit of green apple. All right, that's enough smelling. Oh yeah. Now I never took notes on mouthfeel, but it's not really creamy or buttery or oily. It's a little bit watery, maybe even a little bit thin, but I tell you what though, it is such a delightful taste. Like the toffee and the honey, it's really slightly got a little bit of a buttery taste, but it's not a buttery texture. And it's kind of like an unsalted butter too. It's not like it's not salty at all. It's so delicate. And honestly, there's a lot of Japanese whiskies that I've tried that are just super delicate. And honestly, it is a pleasure to drink it. It's a pleasure. Finish is probably moderate. It's not super long, but it's also not short. It's still going a little bit, but the honey is really tapering right now. It's not as long of a finish as I remember. Oh, such a pleasant, easy drinking whiskey. Goodness, it's light and bubbly and refreshing, and it's not heavy, it's not harsh, it's just nice. But this is the thing, it doesn't blow my socks off. I could sip it and it's all right. Let's rate this thing. The cost is 3, stretching the budget a bit. It's just over that line, which is unfortunate. And I guess where I'm struggling is with the quality of it. You know, it's definitely a 2. It's just not quite a 3. It doesn't make me smile enough. It's not lighting me up here. It's a great whiskey, but at the same time, there's really not, if you want something that's gonna really brighten your mood, this is not it. But you know what? If you want something if you had a long day and you just want to sit back and relax, then this is the sort of thing that you can have it, you don't have to overthink it, and it's just nice and it's pleasant. And I think it makes it a 2. It's a nice drink for some occasional variety, and overall, it's an orange. Only invest in this thing if you're really keen. That's the truth. I mean, it's still a beautiful whiskey, but it's decent enough, no doubt about that. But it really just doesn't blow my socks off, and for that price, it's not something I can see myself investing in, unless I get a really good deal. It's perfectly pleasant. Yes, it's perfectly pleasant. Yes, it is. But it's just not singing. It's not singing to me anyway. That's okay. Best believe I'm still going to finish it though. And with that, cheers. See you next time. That's lovely.